and gentlemen, let's go. We ain't got no time to waste. Let's go. You are now listening to Jason Anderson, and you are in the zone.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Brought to you by Guaranteed Foods, official sponsor of Family Mealtime. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
I'm in a Monday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels. We head up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you. A lot of stuff to get into and talk about today. 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us. 913-912-4810. Text line to join us today if you want to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. We will talk with Field Yates coming up at noon. NFL insider from ESPN. We will hear from Andy Reid in his weekly press conference in the noon hour, as well as they are getting set to face off against a team that will be playing tonight at home against the Cowboys, a little Monday night football. The Chiefs have been preparing for the Chargers since Friday, I guess. The Chargers have been preparing for the Cowboys for the last week, and they will start preparing for the Chiefs tomorrow. So, total aside, and if there were some big conspiracy against other teams in the NFL, if the NFL was rigging the league for the Chiefs, the way that idiots claim that that's the case.
If.
Yeah, sorry, if.
Air quotes, if.
Let me read the script. Says make sure you say if. You do not. You will be sued if you admit to any knowledge of the NFL script. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I read the fine print again.
Yeah, the super fine print's the real scary stuff, but I'll go back through that later.
Yes, and it is super fine, too.
Did you
see what that print was wearing?
10 of your fingers.
Oh, my goodness. So, for the idiots that think that it may be rigged or skewed or the refs or whatever it is, they're dumb for a couple of reasons. They're dumb because they may actually believe that. They're also dumb because if you want to believe that, the officials and calls at the end of the game wouldn't be what you would go with. It would be a pretty significant AFC West matchup in which the Chiefs play Thursday night the week before and the Chargers play Monday Night Football.
That's a great point.
That would be the one that you would point to.
Really
and go,
helpful.
The Chiefs are clearly getting a kiss from the league. This is one to where I would go, yeah, I could see where people would be complaining about the Chiefs getting a kiss from the league. If I was a Chargers fan, I would be freaking pissed.
That's one where you would go, mwah!
Yeah.
Thank you, league.
Right, that's exactly right. Let me just say this. If it was flipped, I'd be pissed. If the Chargers played on Thursday and the Chiefs were playing Monday Night Football and getting ready to head to L.A. to face off against the Chargers in a big matchup, yeah, I'd be pretty mad. I'd be pretty annoyed if the Chiefs had a few days and then went on the road. And the team that they're playing played a home game on Thursday and then will play a home game that next weekend with 4 extra days to prepare. Not a bye week in between.
Listen, you've seen the commercials. Amazon got involved. The Amazon Web Services helped make the schedule more fair to help eliminate injuries. That's what Amazon told us they did.
That's what they did, damn it.
You think this is Amazon's fault?
No.
You shut your mouth. That's something I would not say out loud.
That's a total aside. Total quick aside with that. So, if anybody's like, they're screwing the rest of the league for the Chiefs with these calls. No, they're not. They're doing it with the schedules. Idiots. Wait, no, they're not at all.
Our one podcast title, The Real Way the NFL is Fixing the Season for the Chiefs.
Which will be these 2.5 minutes we just spent on it. And now we get into everything else.
We'll just restate that for about 4 hours today, and then bada bing, bada boom.
Everybody's been restating it for 4 weeks, so they might as well keep restating it for 4 hours.
Keep doing it.
913-912-4810. We'll also have a little Learn Funniest Best coming up later on today in the 1 o'clock hour. No Mick Schaefer today, so we will have to just do.
Truly the best.
We will try to press on in his stead.
I learned that he's not here.
I learned that yesterday. My funniest is that I didn't even care. My best is that he's not here.
Think how much time we're going to have to talk about the things we learned and laughed at this weekend.
Oh, so many learns, so many laughs.
Thanks, Mick.
So many bests. Where to begin? 913-912-4810 is the text line. Let's start with the NFL. We'll get into some college today. Believe me, there's a lot of stuff in college football that I want to talk about. We may get into it this hour. to see how the show goes along.
I appreciate all the local schools really taking the appropriate weight on their shoulders with the Chiefs playing on Thursday.
Right.
Making sure we had some real drama to talk about.
Yeah, we didn't have a whole lot of previewing of college football this weekend on Friday because of the discussion around the Chiefs losing to the Broncos by winning 19-8. So that discussion took over the entire show, as you would expect. But it was a big weekend for all these teams as, K-State had a huge one in front of them to try to get back on track against Texas Tech, a good team at home. And, how do they go and play? How do they perform against Texas Tech? Kansas has an opportunity to go down to Oklahoma State, a team that just beat Kansas State. How do they perform? And then Missouri and Kentucky were trying to figure things out after disappointing losses the week before, one at home and the other one on the road, in which they got embarrassed by Georgia. So what would happen in that game? Because, it has been a sort of a program argument for 6-7 years about one side thinking they're the better program and the other side being wrong if they're Kentucky. It's been the conversation for a while.
Is that the conversation? That's how it's gone?
Yes, the conversation has been who's the better program. Missouri's the better program. Or you can be wrong. Yes.
Got it.
It's not even really a discussion.
Really easy. It's very simple, folks. I don't see the problem here.
Missouri doesn't have to deal with another school in their state that's taking recruits. They also have a state in which the last 3 years has 26 4- and 5-star players. Not 4 in the last 4 years in that state. But I digress again. So let's get into some football this weekend, and we'll get into some college as well. Boy, the Chiefs playing on Thursday has made for very drastic conversations on a Friday to a Monday with what the rest of the league does. The Chiefs lost to the Lions, the first game of the year. And the skies right outside were almost falling. They were being held up by Travis Kelce's knee and the Katz brothers. So there was still some sort of help is on the way. They could have won. The sky was not really falling. It was being dropped on that Friday morning, okay? Kadarius Toney was in charge of really holding the sky up, and it went right through his arms. It happens. One of those things.
And sky's been falling ever since.
That's
it's
exactly
really,
right. No, he's just been there. This guy's just not even noticing. It's like, it's the exact opposite of great weather. When you walk outside and you don't even notice the weather.
It's a clear sky. Just transparent. You just see right through him.
Right through him. Sometimes you can't even see him. Was the sky there?
But the sky was falling and Toney was dropping it.
That's right.
But Travis Kelce's hyperextended knee and the Katz brothers were holding it up. This is a Renaissance painting we've got so far. I love this.
Absolutely. But then on Monday we're talking about the Bills losing to the Jets, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets being done for the year. Well, we'll see. Mm-hmm. He's a big fan of experimental things that don't have a lot of research behind it, that are just sort of thrown together to try to make a quick fix to something that could be a real issue.
That dude's a horse, man.
He's a big fan of those, and so we'll see if he can come back from an Achilles injury. And so we're seeing, look, the Jets clearly don't have a quarterback. They have an awesome defense. Look what they did against the Bills. They win this game somehow in overtime against the Bills. And the Bengals looked lost against the Browns. And the Browns might have a good defense. We'll find out how good the Browns defense as the season goes along. But if Deshaun Watson can figure it out, if that defense is legit, if they can stay healthy, if Chubb keeps running like that, we'll see how good this Browns team can be. But woof, that Bengals team looked bad. That was week 1. Now it's week 6.
Yeah.
And we're having sort of the same thing about the same teams, only now you throw in the 2 undefeated teams that were left. And you've got a 49ers team that went to Cleveland and lost. They had some injuries, certainly. Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey not playing the final 15 minutes of the game.
And Trent Williams.
Yeah, 18 minutes of the game. Trent Williams. Yeah, they had some injuries, obviously, that hurt them. The Browns play without their starting quarterback.
And Nick Chubb. He was the engine, right? He was the engine.
So you can miss me with the 49ers had some injuries. That's why they ended up losing to the Browns. Yeah, Nick Chubb and the starting quarterback did not play for the Browns.
And one of those was a downgrade. No offense to Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt, who did play fine.
Yes. But I want to get into that 49ers game in just a little bit. But then the Eagles lose to the Jets and score only 14 points. The Eagles did not put a point on the board against the Jets in the final 40 minutes of that game.
Unbelievable.
They went 40 minutes without scoring a point against the Jets and lose that game. We'll get into the tweet that I had about the Jets and the score and everything like that. Buffalo survives last night on a total BS call, and I am sick and tired of officials deciding games at the end there, making decisions to benefit one team or another, and the entire game is only one play. I am sick and tired of the decisions by the referees to hand the ball off before halftime. And other problems.
I just realized what it was. It just hit me.
What was it?
The ref saw a team wearing all red, and they were like, we got to save the game for them!
Whoa!
Just realized that's
This
what
is
it was.
a team from New York playing a team from all red, or at least wearing all red. We must have the team in all red beat the team from New York.
It's like bullfighting, you know? It's like the red cape is that's all it takes. That's all it takes for referees to just start throwing flags to save your team.
And then, of course, the Cincinnati Bengals, they survive the Seahawks. Survive Seattle. And by the way, Geno Smith is standing outside in traffic and just holding the football. Just standing there. There are cars coming, Geno.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? Oh, dang it, run over again. Oh, so close to throwing the football this time.
The Frogger protection plan was not one that I would suggest.
What a fascinating day of football yesterday was.
And gross and sloppy and imperfect. You didn't say great day of football.
No.
But it was a fascinating day of football.
If the Giants and the Seahawks would have won, it would have been a great day of football.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Absolutely would have been a great day of football, no matter what took place or how it got there. But the Chiefs don't play again on Thursday this year. So there won't be another one of these waking up Friday wondering how good this Chiefs team is, a Friday show being complaints or perspective or trying to find some middle ground, or they're 5-1, so shut up. Hey, you know what? We're trying to see if this team can win a Super Bowl compared to other teams. The 49ers look unbeatable. The Eagles have struggled, but man, they keep winning. The Bills look like they might be the best team in the AFC right now. And then a few days later, nobody's undefeated. And the Bills didn't put a point on the board against the freaking Giants at home in the first 45 minutes of the game. I mean, the first points the Bills scored was the first play of the fourth quarter. I mean, it is just atrocious football. I can't imagine the conversation we'd be having in Buffalo right now if we were talking about whether or not the Bills can win a Super Bowl. Because that was an embarrassing effort against a bad Giants team, quite frankly, and a backup quarterback that might have made them better. I don't know. But a bad Giants team and a backup guard playing left tackle for the Giants. And you get bailed out by the officials. You get bailed out by the official that just said, I can't call it twice. I already called it once. I'm not going to call it twice. It was the I dare you to call it every single time defense. Yep. This was an obvious hold.
If you're the DB in that place, it's the right thing to do. You're already there.
You're beat. But you're beat. You're beat. And the only way to have at least one more chance is to hold
Penalize.
or pass interference. And if they call it, we get one more chance. Yep. If they don't call it, we win the game. If I let him go and try not to commit a penalty, Darren Waller's both arms get up in the air and he catches the ball. It happens. There are plenty of other reasons why the Giants ended up losing that game. As we said, the refs did not have them run the ball or alert out of a passing play for Tyrod Taylor to run the ball there before half to give the ball to Saquon Barkley and ended up getting stopped. But it was really interesting. And it's another Monday after a Thursday game, Josh, to where it sort of changes the perspective of what we think about the Chiefs and their ranking in the NFL, to where a Friday you feel like they're down here or somewhere in this area, to where a Monday you're like, no, I mean, is there a team better than the Chiefs?
Right.
I don't think there's a team better than the Chiefs. Are there teams that are right in the mix or as good or right there with the Chiefs? Yeah, I think there are. But there's not a team in the NFL where I go, that team is definitively better than the Chiefs. And if the 49ers went to Cleveland and just punked them and ran up and down the field and Brock Purdy looked like Brock Purdy and still hadn't lost in the regular season and all of that stuff, then I'd be saying, yes, San Francisco looks like a dominant team. But they didn't look all that good yesterday. And yes, there was a call in that game that shouldn't have been called. The Gibson hit was not a penalty. It was a clean play in the NFL. And it took what would have been a 4th and 10 into a 1st and 10. And the Browns got points out of that. They got a field goal out of that. And it would have been the game, essentially. Well, shouldn't say the game. There was another 4th down chance. But you get the point. That it was an automatic 1st down, and then they parlayed that. There were some calls that take place. There are some game-changing calls at the end of game. And, Josh, it's what we talk about all the time. Don't be in one-score games.
Right.
The more you're in one-score games, the more of an opportunity there is for a game-changing call or no call.
We're not even talking about Kansas yet. But that's where we're gonna be there. We're gonna be there with KU a little later on today.
Because it's a matter of like 3 plays. In fact, it was 3 plays, right? It was the BS call on, I'm using air quotes, Devin Neal, even though it wasn't on Neal. If there was a call, it was going to be on Graham. And then you've got 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down, and then 4th down was an offsides penalty that wasn't called.
And it's a matter of missed opportunities. It's, again, I don't want to pull us over to KU now because I really want to talk about this football game yesterday, or the football day yesterday, really. Yeah. But your turnovers, your missed opportunities, your short yardage, those are the types of things that when you have the wrong outcome 3 or 4 times in a row, then by the end, one missed call, one call where the coin bounces on the table, hovers in midair, and is it going to be heads or tails? That kind of stuff happens at the end of football games all the time. 4 or 5 times a weekend. You're in an NFL weekend. God forbid doing the math for college. But 4 or 5 times an NFL weekend, you're going to have a huge call that changes something just because the refs got it wrong. To that point, though, with the chaos being baked in, I think you're completely on. I almost asked it this morning, but I wanted to save it and see if we simmered to the same space. Of course we did. Because if you woke up today as a Chiefs fan and you felt worse about your team standing, I cannot imagine that you watched very much of the games yesterday. And hey, if you took yesterday off, we'll just tell you how you should feel. The NFL is messy right now. That's good, that's fun, and it's good for the Chiefs. Because if you made me pick right now, I think I would say that the Dolphins have the most impressive resume this season. I think I would go ahead and still land there because a completely overwhelming offense I still think is the most powerful thing in the sport. But we just saw some excellent defenses challenge that notion. And we have seen, to also extend it to teams like Jacksonville and certainly Kansas City and certainly Cincinnati, you've got AFC teams with quarterbacks that they're building around whose defenses are the better unit right now. For whatever reason. If it's because teams don't play as much in the preseason as they used to. Or if you're the Chiefs, you've still got a lot of new young pieces. If you're the Bengals, Joe Burrow's calf is, that little scramble was the most encouraging thing I'd seen for him so far. He's still not 100%. That and the Jags offense is still a little bit of a work in progress and may continue to be for a while. But those defenses have been consistent. And that's interesting. We talked about it a little bit last week, the ceiling and floor of defenses and offenses. So like yesterday, you get a Jags offense that does produce offensively. But the reason that they have been a threat to deal with and a team I'm not fully ready to get rid of, it's partially because I see the ceiling of that. But also because I know their Josh Allen is a menace. The Browns, I was ready to write off because their bajillion-dollar quarterback who's not playing stinks, and their superstar running back had his knee explode on national television. But that defense is for real. I don't think we're going to see Aaron Rodgers play football, at least not in any way that actually looks like himself. We'll see. But Zach Wilson making a couple of big throws at an offense that has playmakers around him, their defense without their best corners was still not just keeping you in the game, taking games from opposing offenses. Seeing how the defenses have sort of filled out the depth in the AFC and how the Chiefs, even in spite of Robert Saleh maybe overstating it just a tiny bit.
No, they were embarrassed.
How the Chiefs may not have, in my humblest of opinions, may not have been embarrassed by the Jets' defense.
I think he was embarrassed as he did like the Lady Liberty.
Wow, that's a good point.
At the end,
yeah,
he
you're
looked
right.
really embarrassed.
He was like, "Hey guys, I tripped and slid and I fell short of the goal line."
Look how embarrassed I am right now as the